Those are photographs.
Those are the two car photographs.
Yeah.
Quick reminder,
I didn't see a car.
if you haven't signed
That's a
in
car.
on the kiosk for this activity for the
Oh,
afternoon,
oh.
Robin, what was the title of the activity?
Social.
The social. That helps us keep track of how many people we're entertaining.
Hi, Roger. How you doing?
How about you?
Good. Glad you made it.
Enjoying summer?
It's dang nice, I have to admit, compared to the ice and wind. But, you know, it's dry. So that's not even, we need more moisture.
I just met Jeff.
Want that open or shut?
I am out of place. I realize I have my pickleball. So it's a whole. Everything.
That's one of my favorites.
No.
Oh, yeah. No, you're fine. Thank you.
Hello. Should I turn that back up a little bit? How about now? For anybody who just came in, will you make sure to sign in on the kiosk under the social? We don't have to pass around the paper anymore. I kind of missed it. Thanks for coming. We have Jeff Heiberg here today, and I really appreciate him as an artist. He used to show some at there was a little gallery he put together, I think, in the basement of the theater a few years ago. And I appreciate his variety of work that he makes and the collages. My favorite is his mixed media. And for those of you who don't know what mixed media means, it can be just about anything you want, really. It's generally something more than painting or just drawing, though. Maybe found objects. Like this here is made out of fabric and has some buttons woven into it, and he used some little collage images. And the title card here says assemblage. That's an interesting word. But that's the older traditional word for, and kind of fancier than mixed media. But assemblage is interesting how it tells a story, really, because you can take any little bit of a found object and put it with other found objects and make a story, essentially. So Sometimes people say, oh, I don't get art. And it's a little tougher, especially if there's it's untitled on the title card, but that's more leaving it up to the viewer's interpretation. The nice thing with Jeff's work here, he has some titles that might lend some understanding to the work or what it's about. So, anything else I'm forgetting? I appreciate having him here. He plays bridge, poker,
Oh, no, bridge.
when you come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is a poker player, semi-pro, professional. I don't know how you figured those out, but a couple of his mixed media pieces over here actually are made with poker chip trays. And I think those are the two things when I first saw his work that really caught my eye and attention, because I think my first bit of childhood when I was creative and making things and realized I was artistic, it was really found objects and putting them together. It's like it doesn't take much to make something new out of a couple pieces of material. So I'll let Jeff get to it, and thanks for letting me twist your arm into being here.
That's true. I've been waiting for this award for so many years.
Very young Mike.
I've been watching too many.
He does sing too, it turns out, so maybe he'll sing for us today.
What?
I said you do sing too, so maybe you'll sing for us today. We were
You don't
testing
want
the
that.
sound out the other day and he was
Oh,
in the
Well.
groove.
I thank you for Danica for getting me here. It's turned out to be a real honor, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I want to say that I appreciate Laura Harmon for In Color Gallery, because she's got a good selection of my work there. And one or two of these pieces are borrowed from her. And I want to thank Patsy and Bob and Dolly and I'm forgetting Susan Pomerly, and several other people for loaning me the work that they have of mine from their own collection. Art, to me, is something I've done all my life, mostly. There was a time early on when there was this choice. It was either I'm going to be a serial murderer or a serial artist. So I decided for the artist, which has been better than murdering people. So, and serial, I say I'm a serial artist. It's not unusual for artists to take objects or a particular medium and make a series of objects, which is what I do. I consider myself a little bit of a lot of an outside artist because I haven't done much training in art. So one of the first things I did when I got to Buffalo was curate a series of words. And I asked just different friends. I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. I had an installation at Margot's called 10,000 Patients. And I wrote the word patience 10,000 times on yellow legal paper. And it was part of that installation. It was the back wall of the installation. And there was a labyrinth on the floor and mirrors on the side. And it was a really, really cool thing. It's one of the best things I've ever put together. And I know some people saw it and enjoyed it. And thinking about the word patience, I thought, well, what are other words that people might have or use or like? So I asked people to send me a legal pad page full of their favorite word written over and over and over. And I had this idea that I would call them word cards. and then I would sell them in Margot's or wherever. It turns out I took them to the bookstore in Denver, and they're like, words are on cards don't sell. They just don't. So no. So on my way out, I found where their cards were, and I put all my word cards on their stand. I never heard anything else about that. But so just as a present, thank you for coming. We have words. And you know, in the beginning, there was the word. So we're like getting religious now. But that actually brings me to, I like the fact that in the Christian tradition, that God the Creator made us, and we're made in the image of God. And that means we all can create. Everybody's a creative person. There's no doubt about it. And I'm here to tell you just that. I look down and I see the word insanity, so I don't know how that began. But here's and I actually did these in 2001, I think. And
Did you say 2001?
20,001?
2021? Okay.
2001.
Okay.
So, I look back at them and like breath, Roger has breath on top, and I started thinking about Terry Ray, the woman that they chose breath, and she's a yoga teacher and a sensory awareness person and a meditation teacher. She's in her 80s now. And, yoga, meditation, it's all about breath. So it was an obvious thing for her to choose. Other people chose other things, like, I don't actually, patience, there's some of my patience written down. So anyway, when I look at these, each of these words evokes a person who's still with us or has gone on. And so these mean a lot to me now. It's kind of neat. I'll say too that one of these are a heteronym. It's a heteronym is a word that is spelled the same, but can have two different meanings and is pronounced differently, like content or content. So you have a heteronym in there. So that's one of the series of things that I had going for a little while. Another thing is I really wanted to sort of talk about what art is, because it's not a big deal, but it can be a big deal, Art is at its core an intentional expression. It's when someone takes an idea or a feeling or experience and gives it a form like visual, sonic, physical, linguistic, so it can be shared. But that's just like a skeleton of what art is. For me, it communicates without needing to explain itself. So with my photographs, I just put numbers as titles because I don't want to tell people what they project on that image. On the other hand, with my collages, the most fun about making the collages was giving them a title. So it can go however you want it to go. I mean, art is anything an artist says it is. Marcel Duchamp in 1917, there was an exhibition in New York City, I think called the Independent Artists Association put this on, and Marcel Duchamp took a urinal and just put it on the wall, and he signed it J. Mutt. And that started, well, let's face it, artists like attention. So generally speaking, so that started off that point of view about art, and I embrace it fully. And although it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I finally had the nerve to actually say I was an artist. And so I don't know if I'd be able to defend my thesis in graduate school or anything like that, but can you hear me okay? Okay. So art makes you feel and notice, or rethink something. That's the kind of thing that a person that's making collages is inviting you to do, or those mixed media things. So that just frees me up just to do whatever the hell I want to do and try to pass it off as art. And I think I've succeeded in some ways. In other ways, I've fallen short. But at least, I've tried to let myself keep expressing myself in a way that's it's actually valuable to me. And I found out that that's a good thing. Art's a good thing to it's just good to be at it and creative and following whatever your impulse is to do something. It makes you younger. I'm actually 95, but maybe not. But I think it helps keep you young and fresh, and it's just helpful that way. So when COVID started, everybody's life was sort of condensed down. And for years, I've been subscribing to a word, an art a day. Is that what it is? Patsy, where are you? Oh, art a day, is that it? So there's this calendar, it's a 6x7 piece of paper for 365 days, and every day is an art, a picture of some sort of art from A to Z. It's wonderful, and it's all the best art. So I decided that if I made collages out of these best art images, that somehow my collages would bleed through as quality things because I was using these images for art. These are my collages. These are from the COVID days, and just because I don't remember every one of them, I would start building. One of the things I don't do, and probably need more practice doing, is having an idea and wanting to make art that expresses that idea. I'm completely at ease with letting things evolve the way they evolve. And this collage not only has it, I just love naming these things. So this is what goes on above the night. And there's a little famous painting here of the night. That's above it. So this one is Mamaw ponders her curious brood. So this is what the cardinal knows. That's boy remembering a man. This is Walt Whitman and the geisha looking around the corner. So these were really, really fun. They're very meticulous to make. And the thing about art when you're making it is you're in the moment, you're now, which is the place to be as an enlightened individual. That's what meditation does. That's what focus and attention does. And that's part of the reason this is such a good thing to do, is to get involved in something and lose yourself. done a lot of losing myself. So that's certainly a huge attraction for me. Art doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be skilled. It doesn't even have to be liked. A child's drawing, a protest chant, a urinal in a museum, a song that wrecks you at 2 a.m. in the morning. All of those are art, depending somewhat on intent and context. I like this definition. Art is a conversation started by the maker and finished by the viewer. And not long ago, I read somebody asserting that the art that's not the art. The art is the process of doing the art. This is a byproduct, sort of. So, welcome to my byproduct show.
Not as catchy a title.
What?
It's not that catchy a title.
It is.
High products.
Will you start to and tell us about your background and
I don't have a
where you
background,
came?
actually. I mean, really, but,
The ceramics
okay.
and your profession too, because I think you found some of what you use in your inspiration from
Yeah.
your work.
The landman
Your
work
job.
stuff, you
Yeah.
mean? Well, after I decided I wasn't going to be a serial killer, I had not gotten drafted. I was the first in the first group of men that were drafted to go to Vietnam, and I just happened to have a high enough number that I didn't have to go. And so I was going to college to be a teacher. And after college, I took a ceramics class. And then I started working as a ceramicist for some years. And I had a project, a series of primitive formed crosses made out of, they were raccoon fired crosses. And that project was called 10,000 Crosses. And I made like maybe 101. And this is one of the crosses. And I was drawn to the raccoon because it's spontaneous and it's exciting to fire a raccoon, and it's you don't always know what you're going to get. You hope for certain things, but then you get other things. And I was showing my crosses one day, and they just looked like a little graveyard there, and I just lost interest. I sold a lot of them, but I actually have some, if you know any raccoon artists that want to let me finish firing some of these crosses in a few bowls, I would love to know about that person. So then there were really long lapses of doing art after the pottery, the ceramics. But and I don't know, I started, there was a time where I wrote my dreams down and then didn't do it anymore, but I made friends with the head of the Jungian Society in the world. And I was telling Tess that my dreams were getting incredibly elaborate and almost novelistic. And if you ever try to write down a novelistic dream, you don't get any sleep. So she said, well, are you doing anything creative? And I said, no, not really. She says, well, find something, just do something. And that has turned out to be a surprisingly good piece of advice. I guess if I was a writer, I might want to still have some of those dreams, but I prefer being in the world and making things. not that a writer doesn't do that, but I mean, I need to work at things. So, then I came to, I came here and, I did, like there were several years that I was a labyrinth facilitator. A labyrinth is a pattern that a person can walk for meditation or for exploration. It's a wonderful stage platform for doing interior work. They're fantastic, and I spent 3 or 4 years with the labyrinth, which was my art and my creative participation with the world. Then I got here and like I don't have any training. It seems like just one thing has led to another. I've had to do something most of the time. And lucky for me, something usually shows up to do after one thing has played out. But the word cards were a little thing, but then the next some years were just filled up with legal work, with my oil and gas work, which is where I spent a lot of my time was in courthouses. And in courthouses, this is a building for serious paper. I mean, there's wills in there, and there's titles in there, and there's warranty deeds in there, and there are affidavits, and affidavits are a sworn to statement. And I was looking at all this stuff. Like there's an affidavit of identity, there's affidavits of heirship, there are affidavits of scrivener's errors that correct all kinds of things relative to business and title and property. And one day, this is how this stuff goes for me. It's like, it's a law that you can put anything in the courthouse that's sworn to and notarized. So that led me to my affidavits of art, which is one of the probably most original things I've done. My godson, who is a wonderful artist and a performer, had on his hand, "Art is easy," in block letters, right? So I asked him to send me a picture, and voila, art is easy. Affidavit of art. My name is Jeff Heiberg. I'm over the age of 21, and I affirm that the attached as Exhibit A is art. Further affiant saith not. So I started, this is sort of tongue in cheek, but really not also, because to me it's like a subversive thing to do, is to stick art into this really serious building with really serious stuff in it. And so this is my second affidavit of art. This is 193 mostly smiling faces. I've got 15 affidavits of art now in the county courthouse. And at some point, we're going to be selling affidavits of art. If that's like, that's that, right? So that's something else that's kind of gone to the side, but not really. It's funny, landmen now have been contacting me with things like, "Heiberg, what the hell are you doing?" These are people that have been going through the courthouse and they just find this thing. And I'm thoroughly committed to the idea that anything I say is art is art. I'm also thoroughly committed to the idea that art is easy. Initially, or maybe all the way through. To me, it's hard to draw a line, but, so that part of it isn't easy, but, being comfortable with, and with feeling the freedom to just follow the impulse and see where it goes. So, which could get you in trouble, but, it's all about the now to me. It's now, it's now, it's now. And if I can lose myself in the now, then that's, for me, a good place to be. I'll tell you, now is not a hallway. It's home. It's not a place between the past and the future. It's home. It's not a hallway. So, speaking of line, I have a small thing that I'll return to called my Found Line series. And that's where I've taken, do you have that? Did I have that? Is that still here? You know what I'm
The
talking about?
wire.
Yeah,
I don't know if that came out of your truck.
okay. Well, if it didn't, it didn't. But I just have been always liking metal. I like metal. I like the patina on metal. And I like finding a piece of wire that's been totally affected by time and by the weather and by rust. And line is a basic facet of building art, as you know. And so I've been looking for interesting lines for a long time. And that right there, the red and the yellow it's just a thing. It's a found line. And so I have would you do me a huge favor?
Yeah.
Would you get that red? No, I didn't leave it. I don't have any more. Okay. I've got two larger found line things that I'm going to bring sometime in the next month and put up. But that to me is, found lines are so much fun, and they can be anything, and they can be, anybody here could find something like that and then elevate it to art just by saying that. I have a really curly cute thing, I guess out in the truck, that stands up all by itself. It's about this big. And I swear, it's art. But I swear, you could put a platform for it and just set that on that platform, and it would be the most interesting. This is for a non-literalist, of course, but it could be the most interesting object. And the thing I swear is that if they blew that up to a 20-foot by 10-foot sculpture, it would get the attention of every child and every child at heart that looked at it, because it's so active looking, and it just looks like a piece of public art in my mind. And I know I've seen large sculptures in a lot of places that are evocative of those kinds of things. This is, I'm going to read you these because I think they're entertaining. They're different, what different artists say about art. And Banksy is a graffiti artist. He's worldwide known. And he sneaks in and does these wonderful pieces of art and sneaks out. And if there's anybody sneaking right behind him, they will do their damnedest to take that piece of art off that wall somehow, because it's worth millions. But he said, and he's a activist, so he's not just, he's got a mission. Banksy said art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. And that completely describes his art. Cezanne said we live in a rainbow of chaos. Clee said a single day is enough to make us a little larger. Modigliani said it is your duty in life to save your dream. Renoir said it is after you have lost your teeth that you can afford to buy steaks. Cy Twombly said, when a mountain doesn't listen, say a prayer to the sea. Renaud said, nothing is old, nothing is new, save the light of grace underneath which beats a human heart. Pollock said, every good artist paints what he is. Matisse said, creativity takes courage. Klimt said, truth is like fire. To tell the truth means to glow and burn. Rothko said that there is more power in telling little than telling everything. Got blown back today. Rivera said, art is like ham. It nourishes people. Dolly said, mistakes are almost always of a sacred nature. Understand them thoroughly. Rodin said, the main thing is to be moved, to love, to hope, to tremble, to live. Duchamp, the urinal, said art is either plagiarism or revolution. Hockney said we grow small by trying to be great. Kusama said, my wish for you is that you explore yourself and find a marvelous view of life during your life. And I can make copies if anybody would just like to have something like that. It's really, really charming and neat stuff. So along the lines of the found line thing, one day found me outside of a poker room, a card room in Sheridan. And I don't know if I had just won a big pot or lost a big pot, but I was outside. I needed some air. And I stepped outside, and there's the curve in the parking lot, and there's one of these little punk cars. I mean, some of these kids have these smaller cars, with great big loud mufflers. And they're all kind of usually beat up a little bit and so on and so forth. And I looked over at the hood of the car, and this car had a multicolored paint job, let's say, like it hadn't been painted in years and years and years. But it just evolved this patina that just instantly reminded me of Robert Motherwell, who's an abstract expressionist in the 50s and 60s. And he had this series called The Elegy for the Spanish Republic. And there are these big canvases and big, dark pillars sometimes. There was this orange thing. And I thought, oh my God, that looks exactly like an abstract expressionist. So I took my phone and clicked. And this is my first photography in this series, which is my most current series. And I took this, that's literally what the top of that hood looked like. And I rushed home and looked up Robert Motherwell and the Elegy for a Spanish Republic, and it looked nothing like this. But this is complicated enough. This is just, I love this. I'm just telling you. And this is, to me, I hear people saying abstract expressionism or non-figurative or non-literal art. Not anybody can do that. And there's this guy, and this is an aside, this guy in, I can't remember his name. Oh yeah, Steve Wynn. He has two of the biggest casinos in the world. And they're fine, and they're full of fine stuff. And his house is full of great art. And one day, he was excited about a visitor, and he turned around like this and stuck his elbow completely through a Picasso. So he got that fixed, and I forgot what I was gonna say about that. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Whenever he would have a dinner party, and somebody was like, at the dinner party would say, look at that Jackson Pollock or whatever. Any idiot can paint something like that. And he would just snap his fingers, and his butler was already like, okay, I know what he wants. He would bring in a full easel, a canvas, and paints, and say, paint a freaking abstract art. And it always failed, which is good. But it's like, to me, an abstract, a non-figurative thing, it's just an invitation to, extrapolate or look at and have fun with in terms of what it makes you think of and all that kind of stuff. And it's not literal, it's not figurative. But I like this because it's literal. That's an image on a car. It's a photograph of something ordinary and real, and that it's just literal, but it's a photograph that's transformed it into a modern art or abstract art, and it's an invitation to do what you will with it. This is that room in there has all photographs of my pictures of patinas on old cars, and you can pass these around. These are examples of the cars that like this picture here. This car, there's the wheel. It's that corner picture, but I just get these things off the cars where I see them and where they look interesting. So that's where I'm at. Does anybody want to ask a question or have a drink with me?
Cheers. So you mentioned that you just kind of let things flow, but do you, like, you have an idea, right, to start something? And
Well, I'm in the courthouse. I have this idea of an affidavit of art.
Can you
what
say
about
that
these?
question again?
I was wondering about having ideas to start a piece of art or to start the process and let it just kind of flow. And then there's another part to the question, but
No.
I'm interested in how you like get ideas and use them if you do.
Well, I think, did you hear that?
Yeah.
What is your inspiration for when you start? How do you get inspiration,
How
or
do you get an idea?
how do you get started on an idea?
Something just pops out.
Yeah, that's really literally for me what happened. The affidavit of art, I'm bored to tears in the courthouse, looking at page after page after page after page of words. There are so many words. But I just followed through on that, and I had that's it. The collages, I guess the inspiration for that was that daily calendar, what to do with all these images. And I really, really, really like Vicky's quilts and Vicky's work, and I love quilts, all just period. And the collages to me were like a connection to my grandmother and my aunt, and who were people that were putting these wonderful fabrics together to make wonderful designs. So that far piece on the back is the closest thing to a quilt that I've made. It's it's all women. And, they could be, those things could be quilt blocks, you know? So there's some of that going on, and that too is satisfied my fidgetiness, you know, and during COVID, and it was a nice outlet for that, although it wasn't like I gotta do something that was sort of like that. But, so to me, it's just, if there's an impulse, just see where that goes.
So that's part two of my question. So when you have an impulse
When you have an impulse
and you don't have time
and you don't have time,
right then to do it, how do you deal with that? I mean, what do you, does it fly away, or do you come back to it? Does it still have?
both, I think, yeah. The affidavit of art, when I had that idea, was, I just kind of knew it was a pretty good idea, I thought. And so I had to, I mean, let's face it, I mean, a lot of it is just to get attention. Like, what's it gonna be like when I go into the courthouse and give them this affidavit of art? And Vicky was, what's her last name? Eagle, yeah, Vicky Eagleman was in there, and Jane Carr, who retired. They just, I brought the affidavit in, and they were like, Jeff. What are you doing? And said, well, it's a law that you have to file this. They're like, okay, you're right about that. So that was almost worth just that. But I just love the idea of there being art in the courthouse too. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a affidavit of art along those lines. So Johnson County might be really famous in a couple of years.
On the map.
What?
Put us on the map.
Put us on the map, yeah. So, and I thought I had a really good idea with the word cards. And I know I've had a good idea with the photos. This is the only photo I have that's got anything other, this is a Ford Ranger pickup, the side of it with the sky, you know, and it's out in a field in Faith, South Dakota. And I put that up there because that's the image I've sold the most. And these in here, there's a yellow one on that wall. That's my current favorite photograph. The bigger yellow, not the smaller one, but I love the smaller one. Pat Schuler has that one. But did you get anything out of that?
Yes, thank you.
What are you gonna do? What is your idea?
Well, I dabbling, and I love the creative part, but I find myself, I have this impulse, I'm like, oh, but I can't do it. I can't just like do it at the moment, and I find that then I lose, it's just gone usually, or.
The more you further that, the more you'll be able to further that. I know that if I sat down and wanted to actually draw something, I probably, because I can't put down, like the man that had the show before, fantastic painter. He could paint anything, I'm sure. So he can follow through on what his impulses are relative to that. And who would have a trouble following through on that? I mean, so you just have to do that. Just do it.
I need a bigger house.
What got you into that one with the buttons?
Yeah, that's so.
What?
That one.
Oh, that one, oh my God. This was my towel in my truck, and I had this, it took 232,000 miles for the towel to turn from a towel into this thing with holes in it. So what am I gonna do with my towel? I've had it in my car for 232,000 miles. And that car, by the way, went to 550,000 before I sold it. But I just wanted to do something with my towel. And I was doing collage, so all these things that are in here are mostly from that little stack. This came along during that. And I was at Prairie Wind, which is a fabulous store in Rapid City. If you ever get a chance to go there, I mean, it's fine. It's got all the indigenous American Indian raw material to make art. If you're an Indian making art, but I guess anybody can use those things. But I bought a big bucket of pearl buttons. So I was like, well, okay, I'll put some buttons on here and then it'll be finished. And that's what happened. This is so cool, like not at night, but like in the late evening, you can walk by this and all of these little buttons light up. They catch light. There's a certain way to look at it. It's just, I have a lot of affection for this. And that's, you asked that, yeah.
I'm a seamstress, and I have a huge collection of buttons from my grandmother and my aunt. And there's a lot of seamstresses in this whole unit, and they all have these button collections.
Yeah, yeah. Does this raggedy thing make you uncomfortable? Like you want to sew it up or anything?
No, I love the buttons hiding in the background there.
I do too. Thank you very much. Thank you for asking me about that. Hi, Dolly.
Well, what she was saying, how you get started, that's pretty common, to want to do something and not know what to do. And one time I was so stuck, I just made a little square frame and I went over black and white photos in the newspapers. Photo section was good, and I just find an appropriate design, and I just do that. Finally, it kind of gets you started. Things like that.
Good.
Part of it too is having to suppress that you're inspired by something, that you have to suppress it because you're too busy.
Yeah. What?
Oh, I just said, yeah. That's, I talk a lot too. I'm the art teacher here, if you don't know me. We have been told to do that for a lot of decades. So it's especially important to have these types of places where we can get out of our own four walls, because we always have chores to do. There's always some other obligation. But it's really hard to prioritize ourselves like that, you know? So making the time is part of the challenge. And sometimes it just comes down to collaging was one of my first things too, and especially in high school, I think. It's something about the textures that you just find and they go together, or maybe you're compiling a portrait of different face parts, you know? There's just something about that creative process that does make us think harder, and it's an exercise, but it's discipline, especially to keep doing that at home. Because most of us, even as an artist, that's hard for me, is the space. So making the time is also important.
Yeah, our lives are full of lots of needed busyness. I mean, when I was working full time, I didn't have very much time for art, and it used all my juice up. So I was lucky that I could fritter around with my affidavit as of art idea. That was a luck thing too. Hey,
How do you know when it's done?
when it's done,
Yeah, I mean, how do you know that? Obviously, you could tell. Something like this or something like collage. How do you know when, okay, to stop? Because you can get to a point where it's gone past what you want to
yeah, you want to push your,
express.
but with glue and everything with that, I've thrown a lot of those away, you know, just they just didn't work out. I was gonna be a little flippant and say, well, I just get to the edge and stop. But, because a lot of those are found frames. So I will work to that frame sometimes. So they're not all that way, but the very first collage I did is behind the curtain. It's the middle collage. It's called Hidden Buddha. And that's got some Van Gogh in it and some Matisse, other stuff. But that, I loved that frame and I loved the red part of it. It's sort of framing the collage. And I was thinking around just making a collage with those calendar bits. And bought that frame for $5, and I thought it was kind of odd because I bought it from a real Christian evangelist garage sale, and it's a big picture of Buddha. I was like, what's this guy doing with a picture of Buddha? But not in a critical way. I was just sort of like, huh.
Curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity stuff. So that's called Hidden Buddha because Buddha is behind that collage.
And it's funny because I saw the tag earlier of this second from the left, and it has a Buddha image in it. So I assumed that was your Buddha because I just saw that, even though you numbered, I grabbed for that one, but it's funny now that's the
story behind that. Yeah. I love my poker chip tray things.
So I have two questions. So the first one is I want to hear about some of the other affidavits. You said you've done 17 of them by now.
Yeah.
So that's my first question. And then my next question, I was looking at the photographs. So,
The photographs?
yeah. How do they relate to the scale of the actual
Good question.
automobile?
Yeah. This is to scale. This was almost, but most of them, I've taken a picture. I don't know where the car things went, but a lot of them are like tiny. They're just like this picture. I have down at Laura's place. I've just taken like a 6 or 7 or 8 inch square of these cracks. And it turns out it's looking like stained glass in the image.
So, so you might enlarge them, or like this one is pretty much just, it depends on the piece.
Yeah, it's real frustrating because there's a lot of them that I wish I could make them like big, and I'm limited because of pixels, and I can't believe that with AI and all that kind of stuff that there's not a real easy way to upscale these images without the image degrading. So if anybody knows a secret way to do that, let me know. But I talked to Paul Brzezinski about it, and he says it depends on the camera and how big the aperture is, or something like that. But this is my first 3-part affidavit of art. So it's a picture of chopsticks, and then another picture of chopsticks, and then another picture of chopsticks. And I thought I might make a 3-panel t-shirt, but, so this is my exhibit A with 3 images. This one, I'll just do a couple of these. No, here's another 3. So, this is the affidavit. This is the exhibit A. This is called once. That's a dotted thing. I'll pass them around if you want, but this is then twice. The same image, jiggled a little bit on my printer, so they look kind of like they're getting nervous. And then this is once, twice, thrice. Not nervous, happy.
That's the title.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So those are some of, so yeah. Can you imagine looking for serious stuff and you open up this book? It's kind of sad with the digital age. This is, okay, this is, I'll do just 2 more. This is early, I was messing around with the printer and doing double printings and stuff like that. And if you're, this is called early signs of levitation. So these things, these are all found objects, and they look like they're raised off the paper just a little bit. I mean, if you really kind of talk yourself into that. But that's the kind of things. This is an homage. What was that word from the start of your
Assemblage.
assemblage? This is an homage. There's so many words in the county courthouse, like I said, and I thought so this is my this is just lines on a paper in a pattern. I think that would make a great t-shirt for some reason.
Looks like a circuit board or something.
Like what?
A circuit board or
Yeah.
computer part.
So they're just tongue-in-cheek things. This is I went to LA. And I really did go to LA. And I really did see this pattern on the gallery wall. And that's all it was. So I stole it.
Yeah, do you want to
Yeah.
pass those around?
If y'all can stand it.
I'll put some one direction and then the other one. Yeah. I'll do that. Mhm.
This is making me nervous. There's some there are some that are, not at all successful. This is one that is a successful one. But I couldn't be very serious about what I was putting into the courthouse because everything in there is really serious. And this is one. It's now, not never.
Now, not never.
So, Jeff, if I go in the courthouse and ask for an affidavit of art, how do they file it?
It's filed under affidavits, and then they give it a book and page number. So it's all sequential, date-wise, chronological. But then if you're looking for my affidavits of art, they file things by grantor grantee. So a grantor is like, if you're selling your house, you're the grantor, and the buyer's the grantee. or you can search for documents either way, by grantor or by grantee. And so you just go in and type in Jeff Heiberg and these will come up.
And they won't kick me out?
No. They'll probably wonder about it. So,
It's almost like a scavenger hunt.
huh?
You said it's almost like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah,
Or at the school I went to when I was getting my degree, I accidentally found some altered books. So that's like a book that you glue pages together and paint on and make it into a mixed media project. But they were just tucked in on the bookshelves in the library. So that was a lot of fun to just pull something out and all of a sudden realize it had a hole in the cover and things to discover within that old book, randomness.
yeah,
The word's kind of coming back, it's absurdity. So it's basically, it's the urinal.
I'm not taking that personal. Absurdity.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. I went into somebody's house at a party and they handed me a business card. It said, "Warning, there's art inside." What was your question?
Do you ever go to the high school and teach the kids?
And what?
Do you ever go to the schools and teach the children about your experience?
No.
You should. They love you.
Well, do they pay you for that?
Probably not.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. But, no, I've never even thought of that. But
Well, I go and teach sewing
okay.
at Christian school,
Uh-huh.
just one day, 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
You know? And I've got third, fourth, and fifth graders, and I am so surprised how much they love it. You know, they've never sewn before.
Yeah.
But they're learning so much, and they use their hands, you know.
And it's
So many
practical.
questions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Yes, sir.
We really, I do anyway, really like abstract art, and my older brother was an abstract artist.
Yes.
He very seldom would title anything.
His brother's an abstract artist and taught it, and he would very seldom title anything.
Right. And so when people visit our house and see some of that, they always ask, what's it mean?
What's it mean?
And I can't really answer that. To me, it means whatever you want to get out of it, you know.
That's a legitimate answer, isn't it?
Well, I think so, but, it seems like when, especially realists, looking at cowboy images on a horse or something, they can understand it. But when it comes to abstract, they're looking for meaning. And I don't know what he meant by it, especially if they don't title it. Like if you've got a title on it, you can kind of get an idea what you're thinking. But I don't know that that's necessary.
I think I'm repeating myself, but I said I don't put titles on the photographs.
oh,
I
yeah.
just put numbers, mostly. I might say,
You use your mic,
I might say
Put your
red
mic up
and
to
blue
your
or
mouth.
something like that.
will
What?
you put your mic up? Because I don't
Oh,
think
sorry.
people back
I'm
there
sorry.
might have heard what he was saying either.
Yeah, he said that he didn't know how to answer people that asked him what his brother's art meant. And he understood that people like seeing figurative things. And maybe it makes them uncomfortable that they're not told what it is. But, there's just some people that look at clouds and just see clouds. But anybody that you're with that's that way, you can talk them into making it look like something. You know what I mean? Like, what does it mean to you? Well, it's just a cloud. Well, really? Because, I see a giant duck. How do you miss that? Or whatever. But I don't want to tell people what my stuff is because most of the time we agree what it reminds us of. Like this to me, this looks like a cloudscape. right over a mesa. There's a little sign, big cloud. Or if you look at this whole thing right here, it looks like that idiot cartoon character that, it's a cartoon character guy. I can't remember. He's real. What's the cartoon character that
I think of The Simpsons.
you see an elephant?
No.
There you go. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
oh, I do, I can't think of that cartoon, but I see it now.
They're two like, I don't know. We'll think of it in a minute. Is there anybody?
Not The Simpsons. They're yellow. That's why I think of The Simpsons, if that's what you're going for.
Well, it's the other one. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I see Italy with those two islands off the boot.
Yeah.
Sardinia and Sicily.
It looks like a burial photograph. These were up for before on this wall. This is pretty interesting to look at too, how different these two images are with color and without. So imagine art. Some of you come in and see the walls when they're bare. Can you imagine like life just being this black and white, boring, even though it's kind of more subtle? It sort of looks like the moon's surface almost to me. But this is a little bit more exciting.
Because of the color?
Yeah,
That looks like the side of a trout or salmon.
yeah.
Put them together here. Let's put it on the wall. I have mixed feelings about that image, but I like the comparison. Thank you, Keith. You're awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
Frank has his hand up.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever done anything with art other than visual art?
What does that leave? Are you trying to actually just sing?
Dance.
Sensory art or physical?
Oh, performance art? Is that-
Performance.
Tactile things?
I have not.
Okay.
How about you? Have you thought about that? I mean,
Well, I've thought about it, but not doing it. I leave it up to somebody that can do it.
well, I'm trying to think of the different, like
Let me give an example.
fabric art is,
I was in the art gallery there in Anchorage, and
You want to give him the mics?
yeah.
That, we could pass that around. There you go.
I was in a gallery in Anchorage, and I looked at something on the wall, and it meant absolutely nothing. I thought, man, there must be a hole in the wall that they're trying to cover up. And then I went up to it, and it said something like, "Imagine the senses," and it had like a brush on it, a wire brush a little bit. It had like a piece of hide from a mink and all this, and it was shaped, so there was a visual part to it. But just looking at the sensory part of it, gosh, that's a mink, how soft it is. This was a rasp. I remember there was a little narrow rasp, and so I just wondered if you ever did anything
I would,
other than just straight
Yeah.
visual.
no. But now there you got me going. Cereal,
You could do it with any cloth,
yeah,
it could be anything that you could touch.
yeah.
Which is funny because a lot of time they tell people not to touch the art. So when you start really encouraging people to want to touch it. I was gonna say too, as far as looking at something with a title or no title, we don't even realize it, but we attach meaning to it as soon as we see it, based on whatever your life experience is.
Unconsciously.
Whether you
first.
know it or whether you have a title or not,
I mean,
it's all like a lot of it's relative to the viewer, you know.
I do. Jeff's always saying I talk too quiet, but he's just not wearing his hearing aids all the time.
They're in the shop.
Explain your kombucha headache.
Kabuki.
Kabuki headache. That's one of the ones that we have the most trouble explaining to visitors at our house.
You're asking me to do what?
Talk about that.
Tell us about how you made it and what it meant to you.
Well, the primary image that's chopped up in that is a kabuki mask. Kabuki is this real stylized, real esoteric form of drama in Japan. And they wear, this is my understanding, they wear masks for different emotions and all that kind of stuff. So also there's a Russian constructivist painting that is with the kabuki head mask. And there are the dips of the poker chip tray, and that the object in the frame, it moves. I mean, if you tilt the frame, the object just slides to the side, slides to the other. It's bound to become a part at some point, but you've already paid for it. And it just looks like that. Well, and also the masks are inverted. So it's just all awry, and it's a head. And there's this ball from the Russian constructivist painting. Looks like it's fixing to just bash him in the head. So I just thought it looked like a kabuki headache. And that's why I named it that. That's what's the fun of these, was naming them. But I didn't set out to that. I didn't set out with that in my mind or anything. I was just doing things, having fun, putting them together and figuring out what kind of glue to use to fill in the image and stuff.
Well, now I know too much about it.
I know.
I was just looking at it, I said, I just like it, you know. It's just-
I'll be damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well, there's a term too that's art for art's sake. So do with that what you will. It's art to do art, not that it matters on the process or, well, the outcome.
Yeah, you don't have to do the art.
It doesn't have to have a place to go.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, sir.
Jeff, after you've won big,
Yeah,
and
I'll
you do a piece, and you're satisfied with it, everything. Then do you ever look back at a piece after you haven't done good and had a really lousy day? Do you ever look back at it and say, it doesn't mean what it did, or I really don't like it, why did I do it?
definitely. Yeah,
I mean, our mood changes our art.
and our age changes everything.
Life experience.
There's an evolution always, or should be, and I've actually really not liked something, and then like a Joni Mitchell record, when I first hear Joni Mitchell, it was like, ugh. And then I heard it some more and more and more, and now she's one of my favorite artists. And the same way with an object, for sure. I will watch my mind, and when I have a reaction to something, if it's a strong one, I'll just go, well, that's curious. Why is that? I'll dive into that. Maybe not figure out why it's so negative, but I'm glad I'm at the point where I can see a lot of the time. I can see and observe
You don't want that, but
see
everybody else
and
does.
observe my mind and what it's going through. I've definitely liked something later or not liked it, for sure.
You ever destroy any of your work?
No, but that brings us back to the serial killer stuff. Because my feelings have evolved about people, I've outgrown them or they've outgrown me or whatever. I'm just trying to, I'm not looking at you for the, you're welcome. I'm trying to be silly.
Are any of your art, this art for sale?
Yes, I'm.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
Yeah, tell us.
we haven't gotten around to that in terms of posting a price.
You probably just, whatever you are interested in or like, we can, if it's not today, you think about it and we can keep in touch with them. A couple of these things do say on loan from somebody, so that means that's not for sale. That means it's not for sale if it says on loan.
Bob might want to sell his kabuki.
No way.
The neat thing about art too is it's an investment. I keep saying that. We have to monetize everything or explain it, and that's not art for art's sake. But especially now with everything becoming so digital, is to say that we're going to continue to have magazines in 20 or 30 years or calendars. We don't think about that every day, but really what we're doing now is making history because everything's behind a screen. So anything that's handmade and has some intention behind it always has the ability to increase in value.
That's what I was gonna say. I think that I'm already seeing hints of this in the media about people that are handy and handcrafts and stuff like that. That stuff's gonna come roaring back, I think. Just like the sixth graders that are fascinated by sewing. It's like, I have some positivity towards that, so, yeah. I can't believe you came out today, folks. I really appreciate it a lot. Seriously, thank you. Pretty neat.
If you didn't sign in, would you just do that quick on the way out? Thank you, everybody. We have an artist talk every 2 months. It's normally on the first Friday. The next one will actually be on the 10th of April, which is the second Friday, because I think the first is Good Friday. So we normally stick to the first Friday of the month, but April 10th. And thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
He said he's gonna rearrange and bring some different things in on occasion, so that's kind of fun too, that he has a lot of work to choose from. Let's appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, thank
Pretty
you.
neat.
I see your name everywhere.
From
No,
these?
it makes me happy.
No,
but-
Yeah.
for friendship.
Yeah.
Right.
You're talking about visual art.
Oh, good to see you. What are you
I
up
do
to?
wood carvings and
Yeah, awesome.
some extent for jewel art. There's visuals and there are also tactile.
Yes, yes.
And this, I would argue, Mental.
Mental.
Because there's a visual aspect to it, but there's no depth to the visual when the mental art kicks in.
The mental art is kind of like conceptual. There's a thing called conceptual art.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and for me, mental and conceptual are two different things.
Okay.
Dolly, do you know Pat Trout?
This is just
Have you heard of Pat's
be a
name?
big cartoonist, just strictly.
I think you've probably heard of her.
Okay. I can see where you're coming
It's coming.
Occasionally see something where chefs
He works a little bit like I
do
do.
art, which
See
is
something.
visual, but it's also
Yeah. Everything can be art.
Yeah.
Not that everybody's
you're
gonna
welcome to be here.
understand
I
it.
don't have any place to play, so I'll put these back for a while.
Thanks.
It's about the
Are
process,
you local
you know?
now?
I am.
Okay.
Since 1998.
Historically,
I love it.
especially the,
You?
think about like. butter.
Well, I'm kind of roughing out
That's
first.
like if
I've
you don't
been
use
in
it on our
Buffalo
shirts and
since
things, and we got, you know,
Spent years
evolved
before
at
that.
some point out of using buttons for like
Mexico.
magazines. So to me,
One of the other
everything is art materials. Everything tells that
You okay? I'm gonna.
But that's how it, and why, you know, because you never know when you see, oh, this was perfect.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I was asked if you could make a copy of, I think there was like other artists.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, do you have any?
Can you make copies here?
Do you have any more words?
Birds?